This is Pop Cult Parent, the podcast where we see you. I am one of your hosts, Mark M.F. Jones, and tonight I'm joined by...
This is Niels R.Y., a.k.a. you stole my a.k.a. I was going to go see you. It was my a.k.a. and you took it. Whatever. Anyway, this is Niels R.Y. Excited to be here. I don't got him in the chamber, Mark.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to.
You think I just got an arsenal of AKAs just ready to be pulled out? It don't work like that over here. This takes thought, dedication,
time, effort
to make this AKA.
Days. I put my children to bed early to figure this shit out.
Just sitting down all day. What's my AKA? And you took it.
Bunch of notes all over the wall. No.
Oh man.
But yeah, man. Tonight, if you guys haven't figured it out yet, we're talking about. Well, we got a lot to talk about, but we're gonna just get into it. We're talking about Avatar: The Way of Water. And before we start, I think we have some. I mean, I got mine. Do you have your James Cameron apology note written out, Nels? Do you have your?
I wish it was classified as a note. This is a dissertation on how I'm going to be apologizing to James Cameron.
Well, why don't I just, if they don't remember from our last episode, not our last episode, but on our mutual friend episode.
Our mutual friend. Yep. Our mutual friend episode.
We discussed Way of Water coming out and if we were excited for it, what we thought about Avatar's cultural relevance. And as far as I remember, we both said that we were not excited for Way of Water 2, correct?
That is correct.
Way of Water. Yeah.
That is correct.
I have a couple things to say. I know you do. I feel like you have a lot to say, so why don't you take the floor, my friend?
All right. So for those who have listened to the episode, and I'm sure you saw Way of Water and you're like, I can't wait to hear what Niels R.Y. has to say about this. Well, I'm going to start off with saying, James Cameron, I'm sorry. I still don't think Avatar 1 was good. I still don't. But what I saw in theaters in The Way of Water, I mean, we're going to talk about the movie. Needless to say, we're having an episode on Avatar 2. That shows how good this movie was. And I kid you not, first 10 minutes, I almost called you, Mark, in the movie theater because I was like, damn, this is a good movie. I already knew. First 10 minutes, I was like, oh, this is a good movie. Oh, Lord.
Can I just set something up? So,
yeah,
I saw the trailer. We talked about on the show. We saw the trailer. Yeah. We were both like, yeah, it's whatever. And then I remember another trailer came out. I still wasn't excited, but I was like, man, this looks like aesthetically. I was like, this looks very good. Like this CGI looks amazing. And I told myself, if I see this movie, I want to see it on the big screen because I know it's going to look amazing, right? Maybe not be amazing, but look amazing.
And yes, please continue because I think I know where you're going. Please continue.
And so I took myself to this movie. I'll get into what I felt and how I felt, but I told you and our friends about it, and I want to say, Nels, it was hard to convince you to take your time to go see this movie.
You darn tune it was.
You weren't having it, dog.
I was not
having
it.
I'm not gonna see it. I don't care. I was like, this is kind of good, man. It's just kind of really good. And you just were not having it. And the only reason why you went to go see it is we were going back and forth. And I think you said something like you were gonna wait till it came out on Disney Plus.
Yes.
And I remember I was like, Nels, if you see this movie, you have to see it on the big screen because that's how you're going to get the most enjoyment out of it. And you were like, oh no, I'll wait for Disney Plus. And I think I said something along the lines of, that's like me thumbing through House of X and just looking at the pictures and being like, it was an okay movie. And after that, you were like, damn you, I'll go to the movie theater and see it.
You had to pick one of the greatest comic book series I've ever read and use that against me. And you know what, Mark? That's why you're one of my best friends. Because thank God I watched this on IMAX 3D. This, like, you have to watch this in IMAX 3D. You're
There's no other
cheating
way.
yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like, they shouldn't even allow you to be able to watch this movie in any other way except for IMAX 3D.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mark. I got it. You know what? James Cameron, I'm sorry, but also Mark, I'm sorry. But you know what? You signed up to have me to do this stuff with me as a friend. You know how stubborn I am, especially when I have takes. And, and you know what? You did your part, man, because you forced me to go watch it. And thank God you did. Because after I got out of the movie theater, I swear we talked for like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if you got any words in because I was just screaming on the phone like
he did it. You're like the end of Independence Day. You're like, he did it. The crazy son of a did it.
Those are my exact words. Yes. Anyways, back to my apology. So, for those of you who, are movie heads similar to Mark and myself, you probably have known that James Cameron, if he directs a movie, it's not a bad movie, right? Like I have gone through the list. This man has made Terminator. He's made 2 sequels to franchises that like essentially launched those franchises and made them like hits, Aliens and Rambo. Like the man knows what he's doing. Every time he touches a camera, it turns into something that is renowned and loved. Mark, I think right before we recorded, we said like, what is James Cameron's worst movie? And we like put up The Abyss and Avatar. Yeah. Potentially one of his worst movies. Like that is a ridiculous curve. You know what I'm saying?
Both probably like the most work anyone would ever do in a movie in movie history. Like if you love movies, go watch like the making of The Abyss. And it's like the most work a person would ever do in their life to make a movie. And that's maybe his worst.
Maybe his worst. Hey, and if you're confused, you might, it's been a minute since The Abyss came out. The Abyss is a great movie.
It's good. It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
It's definitely a good movie.
Watch it. It's awesome. Anyway, needless to say, I shouldn't have came at with the heat that I did. Like I came at it like this movie. Not only was this, I said this movie was gonna be bad. I said there is no way this movie's gonna make a lot of money.
The venom of all of this movie, man.
I was like, Avatar 1 is terrible. This one's gonna be worse. There is no point to go watch this. I might watch it on Disney Plus. Like the shade that I gave this movie, just like completely, you would have thought James Cameron never had like a buku amount of stellar work to his like catalog. It's like I completely forgot that the man doesn't make bad movies.
You spoke on this movie. It was like you were Frieza, and this movie was Goku.
Yeah, it was borderline racist. How I was talking about
Saiyan monkey, too. Dirty Saiyan Avatar, Saiyan monkey.
So that's my apology, James Cameron. I'm sorry. This movie was really good, man, and we'll talk about it. I mean, just to kind of tee you up before you go into your side, I went from saying I might watch this movie. This movie's gonna be terrible, to like confidently saying this movie absolutely positively makes my top 10 list of the movies I watched this year. And it's up there. It is up there. I won't go over the list because that's another episode, but like it is up there with the movies that I watched this year. So I had to eat my crow. You did it again, James. You did it again. And you brought Kate Winslet back with you. So there it is.
Man, so I didn't come as harsh, I feel like, as you did on the movie.
You did not.
I think my biggest thing was I was like, who wanted this? Who asked for this? Who's excited for this? Not I. Not I, Nels. Not I excited for Avatar, The Way of Water.
Nor I.
And
ask me if I'm excited about Avatar 3.
Yes, yeah. Bro,
I'm so excited.
I'll fast forward. The end of this movie, I was like, I'm here for Avatar 3, dog. I'm so here for Avatar. I can't wait for Avatar 3. So I went to go, I was like I said, I saw the previews. I was like, man, this looks beautiful. I guess I'll go see it. And a film critic that I really respect their opinion was dogging this movie, like the build up to the movie, like, oh, Avatar 1's not that good, blah blah blah. And he saw this movie and he said, "This movie is a triumph of filmmaking." And I was like, oh, I gotta see it now. And now, as I tell you, when I walk into the movie theater and I saw this movie, this is gonna sound cheesy. Avatar: The Way of Water is the reason why I go to movies. Everything that this movie is the reason why I love movies. Ever since I was a little kid, and the first movie I saw was Comet. If I remember the reindeer that got lost. But then since then, Jurassic Park, Independence Day, like Men in Black, like this is why I go to the movies. Big, ambitious storytelling, excitement, drama, action. It is, and I said this to you when I saw it. I was like, this is a movie for people who like going to the movies. If you like the experience of cinema, your popcorn, your soda, the big screen, loud like sound effects, music, this is the movie for you.
Can I just like add a point to that?
Yeah.
But like it, and maybe this is might be part of what you're saying. I forgot I was watching a movie.
I was gonna get
like,
to that.
Okay, I'll let you go.
No.
But like, yeah, I didn't. It didn't feel like I was in a movie theater. I was there. So, anyways, go ahead.
That is a great point. Like, rarely in movies now, we suffer from. I think cinema suffers from two major things. We suffer from the effects of The Dark Knight, and we suffer from the.
That movie's so good.
It is good. It is good. But everyone took the wrong lessons from The Dark Knight, right?
Yes.
So indeed. I feel like we suffer from the effects of The Dark Knight and the MCU. Everyone's taken the wrong lessons from what the MCU did right and Dark Knight. And it was refreshing to see a movie where I just watched people live. It wasn't like, oh, we got to get the whatever and take it to this guy and then we got to go fight. It was like, no, we're going to sit here in this world that I created and we're going to watch these blue cat people just live their life for maybe a good 20 minutes before anything else happens. And I was like, man, I actually am appreciating living in this world, seeing this culture. All right, hot take, man. What James Cameron did with Avatar 2, let me step back. I wished I saw Wakanda Forever before I saw this movie. Because the things that happen in this movie, like the world building and the living in the world and living in the characters, I really wanted from Wakanda Forever. And I don't know if this movie affected the way I feel about Wakanda Forever, but you all right now? You all right?
Did you see my reaction?
Yeah, I saw your face. You turned that head. You're like, this.
It's like you smacked me across the face and punched me in the gut. Because look, I don't know how to react to that. Because I completely understand what you're saying, but there is no way on wax I'm gonna agree with you.
I'm just saying,
but I completely understand what you're saying.
And no diss to Wakanda Forever. That the movie did some great things and there's some amazing moments. But the world building that I got from this is what I wanted from this 3-hour movie. Is what I wanted from that 3-hour movie.
And just a reminder, folks, because someone has to just say this. Ryan Coogler did the impossible.
He did.
He had to do a lot in that movie, and it's amazing what he did in 3 hours.
Yes.
That being said, completely understand. Like not to again just jumping in. Have you ever tried to describe a James Cameron movie?
No.
I
think about it.
I tried to describe this movie and I felt dumb. So when I was describing Avatar: The Way of Water, I was like, so Jake and his wife have kids and the humans come back and they have to leave and they live with the Water Tribe folks. And then they come back to the Water Tribe folks.
But it's good.
And attack them. But it's good. It's okay.
It's good.
And they learn to live with the Water Tribe. And then they go fight them and they're gone.
And then there's smart whales and they fly on dolphins. But it's good. It's really good.
But it's good. You got to keep adding that part in. And then I was like, I tried to describe other James Cameron's movie, and I kept running into the same thing. Dog, I was describing the Titanic. I was like, well, this guy, he goes on a boat he's not really supposed to, and it's a big boat, and there's this girl, and they're on different levels, but they meet each other and they fall in love. But then the boat hits an iceberg, and everyone's dying.
It's good though. It's
but
good.
it's really good.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger.
But it's really good. It's a really good movie.
Arnold's a secret agent, and his wife, he thinks is cheating on him, and he chases a guy with a horse, but he falls off the horse. But it's good. It's
really good. It's one of my favorite movies.
It's really good.
That's all James Cameron movies. You sound dumb describing any of his movies, and they're great movies. It's ridiculous.
But I think that's what makes his movie so great. It's like it's bare bones cinema making, right? But it's like you know, man, you know what I thought about?
What?
Nels, our football coach, right? I remember one time he basically said to us one time, he's like, we basically run like 4 plays. It's like the veer, whatever, the counter, but like we run 4 plays. But from that and the talent and like the, you know, the formations, we have this thick playbook. And I was like, that's what James Cameron does. He has 4 plays that he runs.
He runs to perfection.
He runs to perfection, and he might call audible. He might get like run a screen, write a different post route. But it's like, man, we're like, man, this guy has all the playbook. He has this thick playbook, but it's 4 plays that he just crushes. And I think that's why he's such a good filmmaker.
40 years he's been running 4 plays and has made several billion-dollar movies. Several multiple billion-dollar movies. Has anyone else made more than $1 billion movie? He has at least 3.
I think now he has 3. And now with what Way of Water has made, he's the only person to make 2 movies to make $1.5 billion.
Come on, man. 4 plays,
you
Mark.
Couldn't tell me,
4 plays.
You couldn't tell me anything if I was James Cameron, dog. I'd be walking up into Disney. I don't know who. I think what's his name? Eisner is back. I'd be putting my feet on his desk. I'd be a mess. I would
slapping secretaries. Someone gives you a report, you throw the report back in their face. No, I don't touch paper. You read to me.
Take someone else's coffee that's not yours, drink it, spit it out, and throw it in their
face. You drink someone hands you some water, spit it out. Where'd you get this water from? I only drink the finest water. Do you know who I am?
Anything if I was James Cameron. I'd be walking up in the White House. I'd be a mess. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden be like, God dang it, what are you doing in here?
You know who I am.
Shut up.
So let's talk about what we're going to do for these lakes and rivers.
I want to talk about the ocean, especially the bottom of it. The bottom of the ocean.
Oh,
Mr. President,
goodness.
I need $1 trillion. Where are you going? To the bottom of the ocean. And I need the check by Wednesday. He just walks out.
And Biden's like, is he making a movie? What is it? Do we know what he's going to do down there?
But
God.
Watching this movie, man, I knew I was about to experience something when I want to say maybe 15, 20 minutes into the movie. So let me back up. Watching Avatar 1, my whole experience in my head was like, man, these special effects are great. Man, the CGI is really good. Man, these animals look really good. This is great CGI. Nels, I had to like shake myself out of like the what is it? The trance of this movie. And I was like 10, 15 minutes, I was like, yo, you are watching not actors. You're not watching actors. I was like, yo, these actors. I was like, wait a minute. These are blue cat, digital cat people, computer generated images. And I have the same visceral experience of watching actors on the screen. You couldn't tell me otherwise. You could have been like, James Cameron actually went to a planet and filmed this. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. because it looked so, everything looked so real and felt so genuine.
If we're talking about the movie, then we're going to talk about the movie. Mark, I almost cried multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple times.
I'm with you.
For people that do not exist, based off of nothing. Computers. You couldn't tell me these River Panthers don't exist, man. You couldn't tell me. Dog. There was like a point. No, I'll tell you exactly what it was. This is what reminded me I was watching the movie. And we'll get to the full like aspect of the story, folks. We gotta tell y'all this. So there was a point where one of the characters is underwater and is like being dragged underwater and is like holding his breath, and he finally gets to the top and he takes a deep breath, and I'm like, I took a deep breath too, and I was like, yo, was I holding my breath this whole time underwater? I thought I was underwater. It was, and I was just like, yo, I'm in a movie. This isn't real. This is like, I'm watching a movie. This is not real. These characters are not real. Nothing in this is real. It's a computer. But I was in it, bro. You couldn't tell me anything different. I was very much so in it. It was like a VR National Geographic simulation.
Yeah.
That had a story.
When you go to like Best Buy or Target and they got the TVs on display, and it's always like the jungle or underwater whales, and you're like, that looks really good. That's like the whole experience of this movie. Yeah. Like, just like, that looks really good. That looks even better. It
makes you wonder, because we all know James Cameron is a little loony. Did he see something down there in the water? You know what I'm saying? Like, did he get a message? Did he find something? Because like the fact that he all this came out of his head, it's a little weird, man.
Well, and this goes back to those 4 plays. It's like, it's a little weird, but we've seen the story before. This isn't a very unique story, right? Even with the animals and like the hunting of the animals, this isn't a unique story, but it's just it's done so well. So like, just getting into the movie, I never imagined coming back to Pandora would be so exciting. So like, it's just, we walk in and the world building has been done and it makes sense. It's like, oh, some humans left, some stayed. I'm doing this. I got a family. For some reason, Sigourney Weaver's avatar in this, spoiler, we're going to spoil the movie for everybody. So at this point, we're going to
big spoiler. Even though it made 1.5 billion, y'all watched it anyway.
Everyone watched it anyway. So just let you know, we're going to spoil Way of Water. But Sigourney Weaver's Avatar had an immaculate pregnancy and birth, and Jake and Neytiri adopted that child, and they had children of their own. And it just, it just pulls you into Avatar, and then all of a sudden they're back. The humans are back. And the way they come back to Pandora, visually, it was just like amazing. But then it's like, again, men, we're victims to capitalism, and like, we will destroy everything for a profit. And just that scene there is when the ships come back to Pandora and they just like
the pure
carpet bomb. Yeah, just pure destruction. No harmony with the world, and then Zoe Saldana's character just starts crying. Like, I was like, I'm in for a movie, dog. This is about to be a movie,
Yeah, so like when Jake's describing his family and is showing you the kids, and I was like, well, you got me. Like, I want to know about your 2 sons. Oh, the little girl's adorable. Sigourney Weaver was had a magic baby. Okay, I want to know. I want to know what's going on. Who the daddy? Like, I want to know. So, and I love one thing that James Cameron did that I'll give him a little credit for, because like, I don't think I've seen this before. Even though it's such a simple concept, Jake is describing how like the native tongue of the River Panther people is just Like
You
he's
not
been.
call them that.
That's what I'm calling them. I don't know what they're called. The River Panthers, Mark. But he's saying he's been on the planet for so long that like the language is it's like it's becoming his first language. And like there's captions when the kids are talking to each other, and like there's captions in English, and then they just slowly disappear.
Yeah,
And like
yeah, yeah,
all of
yeah.
a sudden they start speaking English. And it's like you're realizing that like Jake Sully is just like, yo, I'm fully
He's immersed
understanding the
into
language. Yeah.
the Navi. That's what they're called, the
The
Navi.
Navi. Yep.
And then I really like the like with his kids. I'm pretty sure that none of them have an accent. If I go back and
Sigourney Weaver's daughter has an accent. She got a little bit of an accent,
but none
and
of
the
them
first
have
son does.
Yes, you know what? The first son does have kind of an accent, but the youngest daughter and the second son kind of don't.
They kind of don't. No.
And they talk with more of like a English dialect and even slang because they pick it up from Jake. And I was like, yo, that's so dope. They're like the first generation, kind of like I'm just gonna say immigrant because like
no, seriously.
But yeah, it's like first generation immigrant parents and I was like, that's so cool. That's so dope. And then like Jake is the only one with 5 fingers and they have 5 fingers. I just like I really appreciate all that stuff walking into this movie. Because it's been, let's be fair, it's been what, 13 years? 10 years?
It's been a minute. And so, I think what was crazy in the scene of watching the humans come back, right after that, Jake essentially shows that like he was being Robin Hood. Like there was a transit of train of like a whole bunch of materials coming in. Jake leads his people to like mess up the arms, steal all of their like guns and stuff like that. And he's showing that like he is smart and strategic and is like leading them to like really cause problems for the humans. And so like
sure
the entire plan is like, say it again.
I'm pretty sure the humans call Jake a terrorist in this movie.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm interesting choice of words.
Yeah, right. But I'm pretty sure that's what they call him. But yeah, no, like that whole, I love that whole like part of where, you know, it's strategic strikes. Like Jake is having the Na'vi take out train stations and they probably take out other depots. And you see the Na'vi, some of them are actually using human weapons because like Jake has taught them how to use them. And it's just, I'm not gonna lie, I could have watched that whole movie of Jake being like a terrorist and just taking out these stations. I could have watched that whole movie.
I mean, I was sitting there like, oh, this is what the movie's gonna be. Like, we're just gonna watch Jake strategically try to stop the humans from colonizing the planet. I'm like, okay, cool. At that point, Mark, this is when I knew the movie was good. I was like, sign me up. This is great. Sign me up. I don't even need a story. Just go, James. Like, go ahead and tell me what's going on. Oh, I hate James Cameron. and then after we see bro, I gotta hear what you think about this. When you saw the blue avatar and you saw it was the general, what was your reaction to that? Like what was going on in your head when you saw that all happen?
So you're talking about when they bring Stephen Lang's character back, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So man, I usually in movies I kind of hate this kind of like, I don't want to call it retconning, but like, oh yeah, we had a backup. We had a backup one the whole time, or oh, we thought he died. Oh yeah, but you know, we saved his brain data. So like, you know what I mean? I kind of hate that stuff, but Stephen Lang's amazing. He was probably the best part in Avatar 1. So I was very excited to have him back. and Nels, when I saw him as like in his Avatar Na'vi body, I was like, yes. Yes. I was like,
I love it. I had the exact same reaction.
I was like, not like this guy, because this guy hates Jake. He hates Na'vi. Now you give him the tools and the body to like really go toe to toe with them. Yes.
And you know what? It's because like this is why I hate James Cameron. the concept, I agree, Mark. That concept's dumb. I don't like that concept. But because that actor and that character is so good, and I'm like, oh, we get him again, and this time he's in the body of the people he hates. Thank you. Like, yes. Like Simon, I'm like, I'm fine with the James. Keep going. That's why I hate James Cameron, man. Oh, God.
But so for the listeners, basically Stephen Lang's character, I think his name was is it Korik? I think that's his name. He was the general.
It doesn't matter.
The general.
Colonel
he was the general
something
in the first Avatar who was like, "Welcome to Pandora. You are here, and everything here will kill you." You know, like, good work, Jake. You want your legs back? Courage,
something like that.
I'll give you your legs back, Jake Sully, if you tell me how to kill these blue devils. You know, typical, you know, but great, acted well. So they bring him back, and he gets an Avatar body. And essentially, and then shout out to I forget her name, but Carmela, the general from she's
Eddie Falco.
Eddie Falco. Yo, I was like, what is she doing in this movie? In a mech suit. She's in a mech suit. I'm like,
drinking coffee.
I was like, no, I'm watching a movie where Carmela Soprano is in a mech suit talking to a giant blue cat person. Thank you, James Cameron.
And you're invested. I'm like, yo, why is Edie Falco in this movie? Why is she the badass general? I have so many questions.
Did you see the clip of her on I think it was like The View, and they were asking her about Avatar, and she forgot she was in it because they filmed it so long ago that she thought it came out and it sucked. And
that
so they're
hilarious.
Like, she's like, oh man, I guess it sucked. That's why no one's talking about it. And they're like, yeah, Avatar. She's like, wait, that didn't come out yet.
That is terrible. That she did not know that. That is horrible. Or she is ridiculously famous.
Yeah. But when she brings him back and they're like, look, Sully's really like messing up our plans, like Earth is dying. Basically, we're gonna do a mass exodus to Pandora, and we can't do that because Jake is really messing everything up. So we need you and your team of other Avatar Marines, by the way, to basically hunt him down and kill him. And I was just so here for it, man. I was like, this is the movie.
Yes, this is what you want. I want this general or colonel, whatever his name is, Courage, in an Avatar suit, leading a group of Marine avatars against his people. If you told me that what the movie was, Mark, I would have went.
Yeah,
I'm cool. That's great. Signing up. I'm there.
When I was trying to convince you to watch this movie, I could have told you that, but it would have ruined it. So, but they start attacking them, and they start the colonel. I'm just gonna call him Colonel. Stephen Lang realizes that, oh, Jake's got kids. Well, to get him, we're going after the kids.
Yep.
And
because he's an evil man, and he has no morals. But I think actually, you know what? Something we got to talk about. What's the kid's name? Spider, who I was ready to hate. I'm like, this is Donnie from the Wild Thornberrys in the James Cameron movie. Like, I was ready to hate Spider Dog. I really was. I was like, you got this white kid in a loincloth with dreadlocks with these blue cat people. Straight up taking their culture. It's just like, oh, I'm here. I'm okay with doing your culture. No, I can't even breathe your air. But you know what? I'm a Na'vi. I'm going to do everything like Na'vi. I'm going to grow my hair out just so it can look like a Na'vi. And white people got to try to make dreads. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, Mark, there are other humans there.
Plenty of other people
who are wearing regular clothes.
Got shape ups,
clean nails. Haircuts. You know what I'm saying? They're doing human stuff. And this human kid is choosing
shirts, shoes, socks.
Choosing to be Tarzan. He's making a choice to be Tarzan.
He looks like the Disney Tarzan. He essentially looks
he sure does.
He looks like Disney Tarzan. And I was ready to hate Spider. We find out that Spider is Stephen Lang's son that he had before he died. and I guess they didn't send Spider back to Earth because in this world you can't put babies in cryo sleep.
Yeah, he was like
And
too young. You said in this world.
in this world of Avatar, right?
Yes.
And you know what's funny? I was talking to someone and they mentioned that, and they were trying to like cinema sins this movie, and they're like, "That's so stupid. So what? They can't just put them in cryo sleep?" And I was like, "Dog, you can't give babies honey so they're like one.
Yeah.
I can gladly like that's no problem for me believing that you can't put a baby in cryo sleep. I have no
Yeah, that
problem
makes
believing
complete sense to me.
that. That makes complete sense.
I didn't even say damn you, James Cameron. I was like, yep, this is like a 3-year-old. You can't put him in cryo sleep. We don't even know the schematics of cryo sleep, but we were cool enough to be like, no, cryo sleep for a toddler? Hell no, you can't do that.
But I think Spider works so well because Jake's kids and him are like it's like their adopted little brother. You know,
Yeah.
it's just the acting, the kid acting in this movie is great. It's really good.
Phenomenal.
And shout out to Sigourney Weaver, who plays her own daughter in this movie, and she's playing a kid and she kills it. She
Bruh.
kills it.
Sigourney Weaver needs to get an award for what she did in this movie. I didn't know until I talked to you after the movie that, because I was wondering, I was like, yo, who was the actress that played Sigourney Weaver's daughter? Because she kind of killed it.
Yeah.
And you were like, did you know that Sigourney Weaver played the daughter? And I was like, no way. I didn't believe you. She did.
Yeah. And she crushed
and
it.
She killed it. So she absolutely, she needs something, like she needs some type of love, because like she played, okay, besides the fact that Sigourney Weaver is she is not a spring chicken, and she was doing motion cap. She was probably one of the oldest people on staff, we want to be honest.
Yeah, she might be. Yeah.
So she was doing motion capture the entire time. That's one. So she's playing a character that doesn't even really, doesn't really exist. And the fact that she was doing that as well as playing a 14-year-old.
Yeah, a kid with other kids. She
with
acted with other kids, and it was seamless. It didn't feel like an adult trying to be a kid. It felt like a kid. So I don't know what she did to channel that. Like, I'm a 14-year-old girl. I was like she crushed it, dog. She crushed it.
Killed it. She killed it. Sigourney Weaver, just in case y'all are wondering, Sigourney Weaver is 73 years old.
Oh my God.
73. Oh man.
That is insane, dog.
Yeah, man. That's impressive.
That's
impressive.
Good Lord.
So you were talking about the general. The general finds the kids. The general also finds out that Zoe Saldana's character was the one that killed him as he was a human. Like, he saw the arrows and he saw his skull. And at that point, he's like, all right, so yes, we're going to take these kids, but I'm going to kill him, and I'm going to kill Jake Sully, and I'm killing his wife.
Yeah.
That is specifically what I'm going to be doing within these next 3 hours.
You know what's funny? Low key, you think the movie is like Jake versus Stephen Lang, but it's really like Terry versus Stephen Lang, because he even they have all this dialogue back and forth through the movie where he's like, yeah, I know you killed me and we got unfinished business. I'm not going to forget that you killed me. And she's like, I hope you don't forget. That's her energy in the whole, I hope come
this
see
ain't
me.
Really about Jake. Can we be honest? Jake is a side character. Yes. It's just the fact that he knows the humans and he knows how they operate. But it's really Zoe Saldana. What she says goes. Jake has to convince her about doing the stuff, but she knows whatever she's doing is the right thing. This is her movie. And she shows in many ways why this is her movie.
When they first kidnap, when the Marine avatars find Jake's kids and Spider, and they kidnap them, and then him and Zoe Saldana rescue them. And I just love the dynamic they have where Jake goes in, he's basically the infantry, and Zoe Saldana basically stays in the trees and snipes dudes with her arrow. Put it in slight work to all these Marines, dog. I think she got all the kills that first encounter. She had all the kills.
What did Jake do? Jake threw some hands.
Yeah.
But Jake ain't get anybody.
Nah.
Zoe, while on the other hand, was murking them.
Yeah.
Like viciously. And you know what? They almost make you forget that she can't fight or that she can fight. Because then she had a chance to fight one of them, beat the brakes off of them in 3 seconds.
We'll get.
I ain't even talking about that. I'm talking about the forest. Still in the forest.
Oh yes,
she swooped down, pop, pop. She hit a 3-piece with her staff and kept it moving.
Yeah. But this really shakes up Jake because he realizes that they're gonna find us, and what really shakes him up is that they captured Spider, and he's like Spider knows. He's like, I love Spider, but he knows everything about us. He knows where we are. The first place they're gonna come is here. And so he's like, we gotta get out of here, or everyone else is gonna die because of us. And like, well, where do we go? Where we go? We'll go to our cousins in the Water Tribe.
They did not say cousins, by the way. That was strictly Mark.
Our Water Tribe cousins. And essentially, what has happened in this movie? I guess the Na'vi have throughout their history, they've scattered across different parts of Pandora and have evolved into different types of tribes. So like the Na'vi that we know from the first movie, they're called like the forest people. They climb trees, they ride the or whatever that thing is, you know.
I'm impressed, Mark. I don't know what those things are.
I'm making that up. I don't know what
giraffes. I don't know what they are.
Flying giraffes. They essentially ride those things, and you know they're the forest people. But then the water people, and this is something I also appreciated. They're physically different, right?
Yeah,
they're still Na'vi, but then they have like the webbed kind of fingers. Their like forearms and legs are a little bit thicker, and then like their tails are bigger. Their tails are more like kind of like
and they
aquatic.
light skin.
Yo, chill, dog.
They light skin. I don't know what to tell you, Mark. They light skin.
Dog.
Those little steel Na'vi.
Dog, they're definitely a stand-in for like the. Why can't I think? What is
Polynesians?
Polynesian people, you know, like that that culture. They even do like some of the same mannerisms, like they stick the tongue out. They were doing that a lot.
I forgot what's like a battle cry. It's like a ceremonial thing.
Is it the Haka?
Yeah, sounds right.
Forgive me if I'm messing that up. I'm not trying to like step on anyone's culture. I don't, but just the battle chants and ceremonial chants, and so they go to these this water tribe, and Jake, they know Jake. Jake's well known in the land of Pandora. Like, yo, my man Jake in the house.
Yo, they were. I mean, everybody was looking a little tense, but when the general saw Jake, they was like, okay, okay,
Jake Sully, my man.
Yo, Jake who fought those humans. Yo, Jake cool over here. What up, brother?
Yo, big Jake in the house. What you need, dog? And he's like, yo, man, we in trouble. Can you think we can
Jake
stay
is
with
a real one. Like, I don't know if the movie fully showed how real Jake was. His cousins from half a planet away know the story of Jake Sully.
They weren't even in the first movie. They weren't even like, but they know. Oh, big Jake.
That's
big
impressive,
Jake.
man.
So Jake, you know, they go to them, and the movie's like, yo, these people are far away. Like the movie does a little montage, and it's like 5-minute montage, but it's like days.
Yes,
for the
it is not a quick trip. I was feeling bad for those flying giraffes that had to just fly all the way there. Yeah,
but you know they get there and they're like, yeah, man, you can stay. You know, you got to learn our ways. And I love Dales. You can relate. I love it because when they get there, Jake has the black parent discussion with his kids. Even though Jake's a white man, he's like, yes, hey, we are yes here. All right, don't listen. Don't your best
touch nothing.
Don't be touching nothing.
Say nothing. Don't you fight with nobody. You know you look at your bad kid. Yeah, your kid always getting this stuff. I'm talking to you. This message is for you specifically.
And then talks to the older brother. You in charge. If he gets in trouble, it's
Your
your fault.
Yo, this is a black family. You know that, right?
Yeah.
I don't care that the actors were white. I don't care that none of them are black. I saw how Jake and Zoe Saldana raised them kids, how they talk to them kids, how they talk to each other about the kids. That is a black family. That is a blackity black family.
Don't you touch nothing. Don't cause no trouble. You know, yo, my side, when we moved to Northern Virginia, my dad would always tell me and my brother, he's like, hey, you're the only blacks in this neighborhood. So if you do something, they're gonna know it was you. And I felt like that's what Jake was trying. You the only forest people in here.
We the only dark skin out here. We only dark skin Navi out here.
You the only forest Navi out here, all right? So they looking for you to mess up. They looking for you to slip.
That's why we knew, like, that's why we felt the energy when he was talking to the kids like that. They the black people Navi.
Yeah. It's
amazing.
But so the Water Tribe, who the actor, I forget his name, but he's always in everything.
Yeah, it's like Chris something. He has played a Mexican. He has played a Polynesian. He has played an Indian.
Every race that's not white.
I'm pretty sure he's played a black person before too. The brother has played everything.
He's played every race that is not white, like in all the movies. But he's like, yo, man, y'all can stay. You know, Jake Sully, you're my brother. You can stay. And I think this is where the movie really shines, because there's no fighting, there's no like war. It's Jake and his family learning this new way of life, and then it's also Stephen Lang and his Marines learning how to be Na'vi, but in their own kind of like Marine way. And I don't know about you, I really enjoyed this part of the movie.
For an hour of the movie, it was that. A third of the movie, you're just sitting there watching them live their lives in the world.
Because what's happening is Stephen Lang finds out Spider is his son, and they're torturing Spider, basically. They're torturing him for information, and Stephen Lang's, let me step in and be the good cop. You know, when he's interrogating Spider, he's like, I forgot what he gave him. He's like, here, I gave you some water. Spider like threw it away.
Yeah, what? He also gave him his dog tags.
His dog tags, yeah.
And he was like, look, I ain't your daddy.
I ain't your daddy. And he gave him the dog tags. Spider threw him. He's like, I respect that. But you can tell that there's a part of him, he's like, yo, I'm not your daddy. I'm not Courage or Court, whatever that, Stephen Lang character is. I'm this person. I'm new. I'm a clone. But you could tell he still has this love and affection underneath it all for Spider. So he tells Spider, look, just come with us, be our Na'vi interpreter, help us learn the world. I'm not asking you to betray Jake. I'm asking you to help us survive in this world. And so Spider is like, fine. And that could have been a movie in itself when they're trying to mount the flying giraffes. And they're trying to do it like how humans would do it, like rope them or whatever. And Spider's laughing at him. He's like, there's Na'vi younger than me that do this with their bare hands. And he's like, Sully did this? He's like, yeah. And so he's like, well, I'll do it too. And
he says, say less.
Say less. And so that part is happening. Then we go to like the Water Tribe. And Nels, this might be my favorite part of the movie. Just this living in the Water Tribe for almost an hour. I really dug it, man.
So yeah, I liked it, but in a different way. At some point, it like reminded me I was in a movie again because it slowed things down.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is kind of slow, but like I can't knock how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
How like it made each character that much compelling. Cause like before that, I was like, okay, that's a younger brother, it's an older brother. They're just, brothers. But like you actually get like the younger brother is like the black sheep of the family. He's really trying to figure out who he is. The older brother has so much responsibility and he's living in this place of like having to protect his brothers and sisters, having to like protect his sister that is like called a freak by so many people, his brother being a knucklehead, but he's the son of Jake Sully. You know what I'm saying? Like he like responds to his dad with like military terms.
This yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
his
No, sir.
dad is like a planet-wide known hero figure, and his mom. Look, his mom is a badass.
His mom is a beast too. So
his mom is a beast. So there's got to be a lot of pressure with the son, and who knows how many years it was just him before they had the younger brother. But like, I mean, and of course Sigourney Weaver's daughter. But like, there's got to be like, I just felt how much pressure that older brother was under, and then like and he was killing it, and then the younger brother feeling all the stuff he did. But you learn all that during this place where they're like learning how to be members of this new tribe, and this new tribe is like, he did the exact same thing in the first Avatar. Like let's just call what it is. Like he's like, okay, this is how we eat. These are the animals that we connect with. This is how we connect with them. This is how we do things around here. This is how we do sign language. Oh, like, yeah, we talk underwater because we obviously can't speak words. So we use sign language under the water. Like, oh, this is us showing you how you're messing up because this is all new to you. You can't hold your water, or you can't hold your breath underwater for a long period of time like we can. Oh, the animals don't connect with you after like their first 5 tries. And then we do an 80s montage. All that's missing is Huey and the boys doing a song to like show you that the kids are eventually getting better. And we don't even really see Jake and the wife. Like they out there doing their own thing.
Yeah, Jake a couple times with the chief learning how to ride their animals that are their transportation. They're like these kind of like flying fish dolphin things.
Yeah.
And so they swim, but then they kind of glide over the water for a couple 100 feet, and so it's basically Jake learning how to like ride those, and because he's Jake Sully and he rode the big red Nutuk or whatever the thing was, he thinks he can like get it in one take, and he can't, so but but
it takes him 2 takes.
in 2 takes, but it's mostly you're not even kidding, it is 2. He's like, he missed the first thing, I got it this time. But then I was a little worried, man, because I thought they were going to do what a lot of sequels do. It's like, oh, it's the kids. It's the next generation. It's Avatar, the next generation. And I was like, oh, are we really doing this?
I definitely thought that's what they're doing.
But the kids are great characters. They're all great. Like, all of Jake's kids are great characters. So it worked.
It worked. They probably did that. And they made the character so compelling that it didn't even feel like it. Yeah. So we like zoom in on the little brother. We can kind of tell that like if there is a main character, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, Mark, but like if there is a main character, it's the brother. It's like the little brother.
I would say it's we should really know his name, but the youngest brother, and then Sigourney Weaver's character. I think if there were any main characters, it's them two, because I feel like they're setting her up to be some type of like Gaia connection to the world. Like I don't want to say Avatar, like the show Avatar, but
that's hilarious. But I think she's gonna be Avatar. It is funny though that we're just you said it, so I got to bring it up. It is kind of funny that we're exploring all the elements in the sequels of Avatar. Like, come on, bruh. You know one of the greatest cartoons out there is Avatar, and that was a thing. That's why they call themselves the last airbender in the movie. You know that exists, and you're just doing what James Cameron does. Like, tell me more about the show. Oh, different elements? That sounds cool.
Yeah. Did you hear for what's gonna be the premise for part 3?
Fire.
The fire with the ash people. I'm like, you son. If I was Nickelodeon, I'd be like, you son of a bitch.
What they gonna do?
They can't do
nothing. He can't do anything. If I would hate his guts if I was anyone in Hollywood, especially Kate Winslet.
Yeah.
I would hate his guts.
But
Anyways,
but yeah, the youngest son, he's probably we set the focus on him and him trying to belong to this tribe and just learning the ways and
then I have to say this part. This is where this movie gets great. So some of the native water tribe boys play a prank on the son, and he is out there, and like this giant great white alien skull shark is like trying to get Jake's son, and like you think he's going to die. And then this freaking movie introduces us to, all I can say is, a humpback killer whale that is smart and beautiful. They introduce us to an adorable, a mix of a humpback whale and a killer whale that is smarter than humans.
Yeah, they even say it in the movie. So the water tribe, there's this race of like whale creatures, like so they're like humpback killer whale, dinosaur whales, and the human side on the scientists, they're like, these whales are even smarter than us. I think he said we can access, I forgot how they worded it. It was something like, we can access 24 different emotional synopsis or something like that. And they're like, these whales can access like 500. They're like, essentially, they're smarter than us and they're more emotional than us.
Yeah, they have a deeper emotional range than we do.
Yeah, and so
whatever they feel is a lot more than how we feel.
The Na'vi, this water tribe Na'vi, they see these whales as like their siblings, as like they're not just they talk to each other. And Nels, when I first saw that like they were talking to each other, I was like, are they talking to these whales? And for a second, I was like, that's really stupid. And then I was like, nah, it's good. Like, it's good. It's good.
That quick.
It was like
James Cameron. Because I showed, I was like, well, that's dumb. And then I was like, they're brothers.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, they're family, So I came back real quick, like.
Me too, Mark. Me too. Unfortunately,
God. And you find out that so Jake's son connects to this one whale, who apparently is an outcast of the tribe, and you don't know why. They're like, oh, you met. I'm calling him Half Fin. You swim with Half Fin? No one ever swims with Half Fin. He's like, but he's my friend. He's no one's friend.
Oh God, you called him Half Fin.
Don't you ever talk to Half Fin again? And so it's like this. It's like taboo for anyone in their tribe to apparently swim with this whale. And keep in mind, these aren't animals to them. These are like people. So it's kind of like if you saw this guy walking down the street, like you don't talk to him or whatever. And they get into why he's ostracized. But no, I agree with you, Nels, because like the segment where the whale saves him from that shark, and then they just start to bond and they swim together, bruh, I was like, yo, I never understood in the first Avatar when people were like, did you hear about how people were getting depressed because they were sad that Pandora wasn't a real place and they couldn't go to it?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a while ago.
You heard
yes,
about that?
I do remember that.
So
I do remember that.
I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it's a movie. Yeah. I get it now. I get it. After
Me too.
That, I was like, I get it. I was like, I want to live in this place. I want to touch this water. This is going to sound so cheesy, man. Just because of the world Cameron makes, I could smell this place. I could smell the sand, the beach. I was like, that water's probably crystal clear and nice and cool, and it is beautiful, man. Like I want an OLED TV just so I can watch Avatar Way of Water on ultra 4K Blu-ray.
Yeah, I gotta say, I felt when it was hot, and I felt the refreshment of the cold water splashing while you're riding the flying dolphin. That's wild, bruh. You find out that like, so as the brother is building a bond with that whale, at the same time, through the eyes of Spider, you're finding out more about Well, they eventually find out that Jake is with the Water Tribe, the army, the Marines.
Yeah.
But like the Marine, there's so many islands that like they have no idea where exactly they are.
Yeah, they're like, it'll
So
take months to like find them if we're lucky, you know.
Exactly. So the army were like, hey, go with these whale hunters and they'll like show you the land and they'll help you like figure out what to do next. And so we learn, and you already said this, but like we learn that there is something like some type of liquid within the brain of the whales that helps humans stop aging. We watch them, like we go over how they actually kill the alien whales.
We could get into this because I wanted to talk about this.
It's gruesome, bro. Yeah. Like it's gruesome, but it's also like I'm assuming it's realistic because I swear I saw a version of this on National Geographic.
This whole scene is like one. I don't know what there's a word for this. I really get a kick out of in movies people doing a thing that they're really good at really well. That's one reason why I love the movie Crimson Tide. It's just from start to finish, it's like people who know how to do their job really well over and over. So it's like people in the submarine, like this your job, this your job. And like that's why I love Crimson Tide. But these whalers, you can tell like, oh, this is business as usual. Like we've done this, we're so proficient, we're so efficient, killing these whales. And it just shows like capitalism just will destroy anything for a couple of dollars, because they not only do they kill the whale, but they kill the mother. And then remember, Spider is like, well, why are you going after the mother? Well, no, oh, why are you going after the mother? And the lady's like, oh, well, the mother, and just very like matter of fact, lackadaisical, well, the mothers they'll swim slower because they don't want to leave their baby. And
they'll
so
never leave their baby.
They'll never leave their baby, so they're easier to catch. And it's like, yo, so you're like, it's not even like when you go hunting. When you hunt as a hunter for deer, you're supposed to like not kill does. You're supposed to kill bucks. You're not supposed to kill like the fawns. But these people are like, no, we'll kill the mom and then we'll kill the baby because they're easier to catch. And then they this huge animal, this animal that's as big as a whale, they drain this fluid from its brain that fills up a jar, and they're like, this is the fountain of youth and blah, 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 and it's the most expensive thing in the world. And so they're done, and then they're like, all right, let's wrap up. And Spider's like, Spider's not even upset that they killed it. He's like, because, oh, they're going to eat this, whatever, He's like, oh, so you throw away the rest? And they're like, yeah. It's like, so like this huge animal, this huge, beautiful, intelligent creature, you won't even like.
He like starts describing the skin like with bones as strong as this, with a brain as big as this. All you're doing is taking this little thing and leaving him.
Like, what a waste! Like, you're so wasteful, and like humans are so wasteful. And like, so that scene was gruesome, but it was great to watch. I was like, this is why James Cameron is such a good filmmaker, because this whole scene, I'm like, don't kill that whale, don't kill that baby. But I was like, this is really cool. This whole dynamic of how they caught that whale, how they harpoon it was just really well done.
And if there is a greater message, because I do think James Cameron with the entire world of Avatar is trying to like speak on greater messages. I think he's trying to again perpetuate the nature good, man bad vibe.
Good, man bad.
The capitalism is evil type thing. Cause like I think he's trying to say like the waste and like the efficiency of killing without remorse is not okay for like just because they're a different species.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the message she's trying to get us.
I think you're spot on, because Spider wasn't like, no, like in a lesser movie, Spider was like, don't kill it. No, but he was just like, oh, you guys are killing this thing? Oh, you're killing the mom? And he's like, oh, well, I guess that makes sense because the mom wouldn't run away, but like, this is all you're not gonna eat it, you're not gonna use anything else, you're just gonna waste all this, so definitely just like how it's like cutting down a tree to make a toothpick. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Ugh.
just like
Yeah.
a waste. But another thing I think we forgot that well, no, you kind of mentioned it, but we see that the Water Tribe, they in the first Avatar, the forest people connected to I forgot what they called their tree, that big tree,
Iwa.
the Iwa. Well, they have like their own Iwa that's like under the
Mhm.
water, and it's beautiful, dog. It's like this. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. But Jake's adopted daughter, the Sigourney Weaver's daughter, she like starts to feel Iwa and really connect to her. And there's a beautiful scene where she's like, I can hear Iwa, I can hear her heart, and she's close. And Jake's like, she because she starts to have kind of like episodes. She starts to like faint
Mhm.
and stuff. And Jake's like, well, what does she sound like? She's like, I think she says like fierce
She said
or
mighty,
mighty,
but she's
mighty,
mighty.
mighty. Yo, one small detail, and I can't believe I noticed this when I was watching the movie. When her and Jake are sitting there, and like they both have their feet in the water. If you notice, Jake's feet are in the water, her feet are in the water, but there's all these little fish that are
Yeah.
just kind of like circling her feet when she's in the water. So they're definitely doing something there. They're definitely
Yeah,
setting
she's
something up that
special.
because the whole point she had an immaculate birth, and James Cameron's setting something up with her, and when he's done, we're all gonna be like,
There's
damn.
there's also another thing that we should show, which is like when the brothers were like learning to be underwater and like having a hard time holding their breath, she got it quick.
Yeah, she
Like she
did.
was under the water and she was exploring the water and she was holding her breath masterfully, and it took her 0 tries. She like
Yeah,
immediately got it. So they're just showing that she's the Avatar. Let's just
yeah,
like call what it is. Like we're eventually going to find out that she is the Avatar of Avatar.
yeah. The Avatar, yes, the Avatar of Avatar. But to go back to like to the whalers, their whole thing is like, yo, we whale, but we hunt out at sea, right? We don't hunt we don't hunt the whales that the water tribe deem like that are their kin, because
Mhm.
that would all hell would break loose. They would like come after us and we would get no hunting done. They would go to war with us. So we don't hunt their whales, we hunt out to sea. And Stephen Lang's like, well, if we're gonna drive out Jake Sully, we're going to hunt their whales. So that's what they do, and they kill the mother, the
Bruh, it's so much worse than that. They we God, this is a really sad part. Let me just break this down. Okay, so the queen of the tribe, who is played by Kate Winslet, her sister, her whale sister, spirit whale sister, is like the equivalent of like the queen of their like
yeah,
folks. She's a big wig over there. And she has her baby whale with her. And
yeah, yeah.
Kate is so excited.
And she's
And you come
pregnant.
to find out, oh, because
Yeah,
Kate's pregnant too. But you come to find out that like the whale has been trying for years to have a baby and was having complications with birth. So she was through the roof like they had a big old party when they found out that the
yeah.
baby was delivered healthy. Oh God. So with the whale that we watched them kill
Was that
is
well?
Kate
Yeah,
Winslet's
her
whale with
sister
the
well.
baby, her
Yeah,
sister whale. When Kate Winslet character finds out that the whale died, you again, you forget you're watching a movie and that
yes.
these are not real characters.
What
Cause
is
the
this?
emotion,
What is this?
I was like, this is no, she was devastated, yo. I don't think I've ever seen Kate Winslet act that good. And she's an Oscar winner. I don't think I've ever seen her act that good. It's
the
ridiculous, Mark.
the scene that scene where she sees the body and she just starts crying and she says like, what is this? I was like, that was really powerful for me, because she was just like not saying like, what is this, a dead body? It's like, this is so senseless, this was
Yeah.
so pointless, like for what, why was this done? And it's like, it just shows the difference the Na'vi versus
She's never
the
seen
humans.
anything like that before.
Never seen just like killing for killing's sake. And so she just like, what is this? And she was mad at Jake. She's like, you did this. Jake was like, hey, Jake had them hands up. He's like, look, man.
Jake has been in this situation before. He's like, yo, it's my family. I
know how it looks, but I'm telling you, it wasn't me now. but so you know,
different movie, they would have tried to kill Jake.
Yeah. So we find out that that Jake's son, his whale, that is like the whale that should not be named, apparently, and I kind of was confused on this, so help me walk me through this, Nails. I guess he was with his tribe, his whale tribe, and the hunters killed his family, and so he got other whales together and was going to go attack the hunters. Am I getting that right?
You got it right.
And in that attack, basically the whole tribe got killed.
Except for him.
And so then they dubbed him an outcast because I guess in their way of life, you're not supposed to take revenge, or was that it?
They find any aspect of killing wrong. Okay. So like you do not take the offense at all. Like that's why when we saw the whale get killed, at no point, even when the baby was at risk, at no point did she physically hit or try to attack anyone. They are like complete pacifists. Yeah, they completely very much so believe in pacifism. So the fact that he was like, we're gonna get them, it's like, yo, you're like X from us. Like, we don't do that at all.
John Wick the whale is excommunicado.
Yep. And it's funny because, well, whatever. We'll talk about it. That whale, the brothers whale, Littlefin, what we call him? What you call him? Halfin. He goes from, we're gonna get them back, and not really knowing what to do, like we're gonna get them back, to being like, I'm gonna kill y'all.
I'm gonna kill all y'all, and I know exactly how to do it
in unique ways that you've never seen in movie in movie history. I'm gonna kill y'all.
So we're coming to the end because, and I'm trying to remember. I think they start to kill their friends, and I know what happens. They're killing the water tribe's whale companions. And so Jake's son's like, I gotta go warn Halfin because he's alone. So I gotta warn him. That's right. Jake's like, tell them to go back out to sea. They're not safe here. And Jake's son's like, well, I gotta go tell Halfin. And he goes, and the brother and the siblings and the chief's two other sons go to help. And they go to help him, and they get caught by the humans.
Because Halfin's tagged.
Yes, he's
like
tagged.
Halfin had already got caught, or like was already tagged to get caught.
So they knew where to find him. But I love when they're going to go help him, the crab mechs that the humans have.
Yeah.
And they're chasing the kids in these underwater crab mechs. I was like, yo, I never thought a crab mech would be cool. I was like, dang, James, leave it to James Cameron. Blue fish people and crab mechs. Like,
cool crab mechs, because like
very cool.
Crab mechs don't sound cool, but like you're like, oh
yeah,
like crab mechs. What?
Very, very good scene. And then so they kidnap Jake's kids. Stephen Lang's like, Sully, I got your kids. If you want them to live, come meet me. And so Sully's like, well, it's on. And the water tribe's like, hey man, you're our brother. If it's on, it's on. So they ride out, and I'm just going to set it up now so you can take it from here. But a battle ensues that there are multiple, like, get out of your seat and cheer parts in this battle. This lasts, 45 minutes of the movie?
Yes. Okay. So first off, and help remind me, Mark, something happens because Jake's about to turn himself in. But something happens, and Jake's like, okay, this is the time we're just going to straight up attack them. Oh, do you remember what it was?
Yeah, this is exactly what happened. Jake's going to turn himself in, and Spider is currently on the boat. So Jake's going to turn himself in, and while this is happening, Spider just starts wrecking havoc on the deck of the ship and knocking people over, messing things up. And Jake's like, "Okay, this is our chance.
That's
Move
what it
in."
was.
And
That's what it was.
and they move in to attack.
So we see the entire water tribe, Jake with his gun, and then Jake's wife, Zoe Saldana, flying above air with the arrows and stuff. Whoop everybody's ass.
Dude. It was a better fight. It was, in scale, it was a smaller fight than the first movie, but it was a better fight. Like, it was a more
half the fight was
exhilarating.
underwater.
Yeah.
It was so good. So like the humans have machines and mechs, and like they are all just systematically finding ways to like kill them. They'll like dip on the water, have the fish come out, hit them. They'll pull certain parts down. They'll crack the glass so the humans are like trapped underwater. And they're really not trying to like be malicious and nasty with killing them. It's just really like strategic, knock them out. Except for Jake's wife. She was killing them.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. I just want to say Jake's wife did a move in this movie that I've never seen anyone do in a movie before. And I looked to the guy, like me and the guy who was like sitting 5 seats down, we kind of like looked at each other like, did you just see that? Well, we'll get to that. But yeah, you know, they're fighting, they're getting on the boat. And Nels, I tell you, man, I almost got up and cheered for this scene. Halfin knows that his friend is in trouble. So Halfin takes it upon himself to attack. And one of the coolest scenes I think I've seen in a James Cameron movie in a long time. He jumps on the boat, like he free willies himself on the boat, lands on the boat, and just starts wrecking stuff. And so they establish that these whales, like their bellies are vulnerable. Like it is like a tank. It's like vibranium. All their top, it's like you cannot penetrate. And so he's like attacking, hitting people with his fin. They try to shoot at him. He ducks his head down. The harpoon bounces off. And so there's a scene where like the captain of this fishing team, this whaling team, is like, "Oh, we're going to get this whale." And I love it. Halfin basically wraps up their boat in a cable. And one of the best deaths I think I've seen this year in a movie, he pins the whaling captain against the cable, one of those tight metal cables,
very like industrially thick and strong cables.
like a 10-inch thick cable, and it starts to press up against him, and he starts screaming, and then this great, you just hear him, and it pops, and you see him and his dislocated arm fly in the air and drop in the water. I literally almost got up in my seat and cheered, man. It was so good. In
case you want to know what my favorite scene in the movie was,
that was your favorite scene?
That was it right there. I was like, yo, one, he free willy. He straight up used free willy and used that as like a "I'ma whoop your ass" scene. And it did. I was cheering so hard for this whale to maliciously slaughter this boat of humans. Like, it was masterful. That was a great fight scene, man. Like, and again, I think it was the best part of the movie.
In any other movie, that would have been so stupid. That would have been so stupid. In any other movie, oh, well, shut up. Like,
the dislocated arm bit, that would have been stupid in so many other movies, but it worked.
Yeah.
It worked so well in this one. Oh, man.
And so eventually, you know, they're fighting, and Jake's two sons go up there because the sisters have been caught. So Jake's two sons go up there, and they go to rescue the sisters, and Jake's oldest son is killed. He's shot. And they escape, and they this was kind of, it wasn't funny, but it's like they escape, but then the two sisters get caught again.
Yeah.
I was like,
Again.
and even I think even one of them was like, I'm back on the boat. Like
the littlest sister.
Yeah, like, I'm back on the boat. But so their rescue attempt was failed, but then the oldest son dies. And this is where I teared up. I really teared up. The youngest brother brings him to a rock and he calls Jake and the mom over, Zoe Saldana, and they're like crying. And he's like, I want to go home. He's like, I just want to go home. And oh man, so he dies. And Zoe Saldana Neytiri, man, she went into like all range mode. She starts like breathing hard and hyperventilating, and just you see this like you know what scene it reminded me of in 300 where they kill the guy's son and he snaps.
Oh yeah.
And he's like I have nothing else left in my heart but hate. Like that's she went there, and it was great because
hold on, we gotta go back to the death scene. Bruh, you said you teared up. I teared out. I only cried one time. I was tearing up a whole bunch of times, but I cried one time when you see Zoe Saldana and like the just pure like, I have nothing left.
Yeah,
like all sanity left her at that moment. The collapse of her, like, you know, being got me. I was like, yo, you can't tell me I didn't see somebody's mom see their oldest son die. Like that's amazing acting.
It was Ricky.
Digital River Panthers, Mark.
She definitely hit the, like, they shot Ricky, like,
oh yeah.
It really and so, you know, he's like I want to go home, and he dies. And I love this moment where Jake tells her, he's like, hey, he has to like snap her out of like it's grief. Not even like sad, it's like sadness, but it's like this like rage sad, and he has to like bring her back. He's like, look, I get it, but I need you because we got to go get our daughters. And she's like, say less. She's like, dog. She's like, say less.
She took 3 deep breaths. And you don't hear another word come out of her mouth for 30 minutes.
Dog, Neytiri going, man. This was probably my other favorite part of the movie. Her like rage on this boat was great. She takes out maybe like 10 dudes on her own.
She takes out all the Avatar Marines and the humans.
So this move that she does, I was like, what? She has her bow and arrow. There's a guy on the boat trying to like shoot at her. She stabs the dude with the arrow, then pulls it back with him in it, and then shoots another guy.
And yo, my reaction to that was like, oh
my God.
I was like, she's mad.
Yo, that she was pissed. And so we come down to Jake and Stephen Lang, and he's like, hey, you know, like, Jake, I want you or I'll kill your daughter, and don't say I won't do it, blah, blah, blah. And so then Zoe Saldana grabs Spider, and she puts a knife to Spider's neck. And she's like, you let my daughter go, or I'll kill your son. And if you think I'm playing, and she like cuts his chest across the chest with a
son
knife.
For a son.
Son for a son. And then Stephen Lang's like, he's like, fine. And he lets her go. And they leave. And, you know, you could tell Jake is like, I got to end this because this guy's going to hunt my family down. So they have a fight. Great fight, by the way. Really good.
Hold on. The dude was like, yo, as they were going away, he was like, Jake, you know I'm not gonna, you know me. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop until every single one of you are dead.
Yeah.
So you might as well end it now. Jake was like, say less.
Yeah.
And they do have a fight. It's a great fight.
You know what it is? It's a 90s action. Because here's the thing that we're missing in movies now. Fights at the end of movies are very like big, bombastic, CGI fest. Yo, in the 90s, movies used to end with just two dudes beating the shit out of each other, and one didn't get up, and then that's when the movie ended. Like,
and some music would play in the background.
And then music would play, and
you might have a random sprinkle of a weapon here or there, like, oh, somebody starts off with a knife, the other one does it.
And then it would turn, the guy who won would like limp away, and it would turn into like a drone shot and just keep going, and then all the other cops would show up and they play that music at the end. And that's how movies ended.
We are describing every single Bruce Lee movie you've ever seen.
Maybe every Lethal Weapon. Like
all the Lethal Weapons. Yes.
But that's what this fight was. It was just with these blue cat people. It was just two guys beating the crap out of each other. Great fight. Really good fight. And so then Zoe is looking for the youngest daughter, and they're still on the ship, and the ship is sinking. It's like turning upside down and it's sinking, and
sinking giant ship.
Titanic.
I've seen that before.
I've seen that before in a Cameron movie.
It's flooding all the rooms in the halls, and people are stuck trying to figure out ways to get out.
Yeah,
running from door to door trying to figure out how to escape, and the boat flips over completely and starts to sink.
We've seen this. Like,
I've seen this before. I'm just saying.
That scene when Zoe and her daughter are trying to get out and the boat's like turning over, so they have to like climb on the ceiling, and then it turns. That was so good. That was so good. I was like, man, this is why you go to movies, to see stuff like this. But you know, they're stuck, and you know, they're trapped, and then Jake beats Stephen Lang, but then he's trapped and the water's filling up, and you think everyone's gonna die. And I got really teared up when Zoe's with her daughter and she's like, "Mommy," and like she just kind of like, "Are we gonna die?" She doesn't say it, but she's that you know, that sound like, "Mommy, are we gonna? Is this it? Are we gonna die?"
Yeah, she's like, "Are we gonna get out?"
But then Sigourney Weaver's character, she like turns on her avatar state and and rescues them, which a beautiful scene. She like gets these like translucent jellyfish things to like follow her and light the way out, so she saves the mom and the daughter. But then the youngest son saves Jake, which I thought was another beautiful scene, because when the oldest son died, Jake was like, "You stay here, you've done enough." He was kind of mad. Yeah. But his son goes and saves his dad, and then I just thought it was so powerful. I was like, "Dad," like Jake's like, "I can't make it." He's like, I'm too weak right now. I don't have enough in me to get out of here." He's like, "Dad, you can do this. Just breathe." And he just like coaches Jake through it. And I was like, man, that's so like, what
that messed me up, man.
Yeah.
That messed me up. I was like, oh, the son is teaching the dad. It's like and then Jake was like, "I see you.
I see you. I see you." And so, you know, they get out, but then my man Spider goes back and saves his dad. He saves Stephen Lang.
You know how you said for the first couple of minutes you didn't like Spider, but then you learned to like him? Yeah, Mark, I never liked Spider. And this was the icing on the cake for me. When he goes back and saves his not even his dad, but like the memory of the dad embodied into the avatar, I was like, "You punk little bastard."
Yo, to be fair, Nels, this was after his adopted mom cut him across the chest, you know, and said he was.
She ain't never liked him though. She ain't never liked him.
Yeah, no more.
She been looking for a reason to get him.
Looking for a reason to cut Spider.
Yeah, she was gonna kill him though. She was like, there was no confusing from anyone, including Spider.
He was gonna
Spider
die.
Was like, "Oh, she's gonna kill me, y'all."
And I hope they because they kind of dropped the ball on that in this movie. They don't touch on that anymore. But I hope in Avatar 3, Spider's like, "Yeah, can we talk about like when you were going to kill me? Can we just like?" She was like in his ear.
Like, "Yeah, I was gonna kill you. I'll kill you right now."
She was like in Spider's ear, like, "You died tonight." Like she was.
Yo, if Jake is gone, like Jake cannot leave Spider alone with her.
No. Oh no. No.
She will just, if she has an impulsive thought, that kid is dead.
She She's Antoine Fisher, the lady who's watching Antoine Fisher now, like when Jake's not around.
Dang.
And so, everyone makes it out, and we're talking about the son's death and everything. And another shot that I was like, this is like, it just took my breath away. They hold a funeral before the movie ends. They hold a funeral for the oldest son. And so the Water Tribe, you remember in the first movie, the forest people, like, they put them in like the roots of the tree, and the tree kind of like absorbed them. So what the Water Tribe does is, like, there's like this floor of like glowing sea anemones or something. And they basically like give the body to that, and it like embraces it and just engulfs the body. So beautiful.
Very
so
beautiful.
so beautiful. But then the scene that really got me was then, because the Water Tribe chief tells Jake, he's like, because I think Jake says something like, "We'll leave," and he's
We'll
like, "No,
leave,
like,
yeah.
you are Water Tribe, like, you Southern Water." I keep saying Water Tribe, Southern Water Tribe. He's like, "You are Water Tribe. You are one of us."
Southern Water Tribe. They are the Southern Water
The
Tribe.
Southern Water Tribe. And he's like, "You're one of us, and now that your son," he's like, "your son is buried like one of us, and that means something." And they showed this sequence where Jake, they, how they attach to the Iwa tree.
Yeah, through the hair tail.
Yeah, they
thing.
do it in this movie to the, I guess, the reef, whatever they call it. And because Jake's son was taken in there, the memories are in there too. So Jake kind of like incepts his own memory of him and his son. And so he's seen his son as a kid learning how to hunt with Jake for the first time. And it's the memory of the son. And he's like, "Hey, Dad, blah, blah, blah." And like Jake's like trying to not cry. And he's like reliving this memory. I was like, yo, I was like, man, like, I went through like such a like thought process. I was like, could you imagine having that capability to like go back to a memory of a loved one and like relive it? And I was just like, man, this movie.
I was like, he's never leaving.
He's never leaving.
Because when I saw it, I was like, oh, he's never leaving. Because like just having access to that memory, let alone all the memories that you have, that memory for your firstborn kid, I was like, he will burn everyone down to the ground before he like leaves that place for that memory.
Well, it's funny you say that, Nels, because as we wrap this movie up, they're having the funeral, and Jake monologues like he did the last movie. He's like, the Sky people will never stop. And he's like, I thought Jake's whole thing this movie is don't fight, run. Like in the first movie, we fight, but I got a family now. I got kids to feed. So we're going to run, we're going to hide. But the way this movie ends is like Jake monologues something, and I'm going to paraphrase, basically like, the Sky people are never going to stop, and we can't hide. We're going to fight because this is our home. And then it does that smash cut.
He's like, and this is where we stand our ground.
And this is where we stand our ground.
That's how he ended it. Yeah.
And he looks at the, like, he looks at the camera and he looks pissed. Not like the fight's
determined.
coming,
Yeah.
Determined, like a fight's coming. And then smash cuts to the title card, Avatar: The Way of Water. And Nels, if I wasn't hyped for an Avatar sequel before, boy, I am now.
Bruh, I swear the first words that came out of my mouth was "sign me up."
Yes.
I'm so mad. I'm just like, I didn't want nothing to do with this movie. Now I am counting the days down, Mark. I cannot wait for Avatar 3.
Yeah. I'm hyped, man. This movie made me want to explore more Pandora. Like, at this point, I could use some Avatar comics. I could use maybe an animated series.
Why not?
I'm down for more Pandora at this point.
Give me a video game.
I want the extended universe. I want to see the prequel when the first humans came to Pandora. I want to see the Prey, the Avatar version of Prey, where a predator landed on Pandora.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Give it to me. Give it to me.
All of it. I want all of it.
Everything you're saying sounds awesome. I want all of that. Yo, I was like, at a certain point, or when it was at the end, I was like, yo, I don't mind every other year coming to a theater to watch one of these.
No,
I was like, yo, for the rest of my life, I'm cool with it. I don't mind every other year coming through for this because, like, I'm here for it.
It's funny you say that. I was listening to a podcast and someone was like, "Do you really want James Cameron to spend the rest of his life making these movies? Because let's be real, as long as it takes to make these movies now, part 3 is coming out, I think, next year because they filmed them at the same time.
Yeah,
but if it's also as big as a success, I think he had a plan for 2 more movies or 3 more movies.
I think he's going up to 5.
5. So if the track record fit, it could take him 15 years to make these movies happen. So
he did say he would wrap it all up by 2028.
Okay.
So,
well,
I don't believe him. James Cameron doesn't work like that.
No, he doesn't. Dog, this movie was supposed to come out I think this movie was supposed to come out before Trump was president. So I'll believe it when I see it. But I at first and they're like, do you want James Cameron to spend the rest of his life? Because the man, I hope he's here for a long time, but I think he's put late 60s, something like that.
How old is James Cameron? James Cameron is 68.
Yeah, so
Sigourney Weaver is older than James Cameron.
Late 60s, so
yeah,
he could potentially spend the rest of his movie career in the world of Pandora. And Nels, I'm okay with it. I'm kind of okay with it.
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it.
Hey, he better. This is what I want you doing. I don't care what. There should be no other movies you have in mind. Only thing there's 2 things, Mark. You're gonna be like, okay, that makes sense. The other one you might be a little shocked about. There's only 2 movies that if James Cameron is not doing an Avatar movie that I want him to be working on diligently. One is a Terminator movie. Like, make it right, because if they can re-elevate that franchise, that's another franchise I don't mind watching till the day I die. Like, I love Terminator. Just do it right. And you got to bring Big Daddy Cameron to come in to do it right. That's one. And the other one is Highlander. I just feel like James Cameron, if he got his hands on that IP, he could do something magical of Highlander. And that is another IP that is just needing a breath of fresh air. So those are the only 2. Yeah. If he's not touching those, he better spend every minute of his life working on these Avatar movies, because I'm here for him.
I'll say if he came back to do Terminator, of course I'm going to watch it. Like, I hope he doesn't dabble back into that franchise. I think he left his staple where it's most important. For a lot of people, that franchise stops at T2. Highlander, man, I never thought about that. I think, he'd crush Highlander. When I see movies like Avatar: The Way of Water, I'm like, I don't know if anyone else could have done this. James Cameron might have been the only person that could have made this happen.
I don't think anybody would want to. He created technology just so he can show river panthers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like a planet of them. Like, he had to create stuff to make this happen. And like, want it to be in 3D, want it with IMAX cameras. Like, there's so many easier ways to make a movie. This is a cartoon. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody did this is a DreamWorks, like, awesome Saturday morning, like, oh, let's go watch this new DreamWorks movie that came out. Like, this isn't this is not. No. The answer is
but we're wrapping up, but one thing and I think this is why I like James Cameron and why I really appreciated this movie, there is not an ounce of cynicism in this movie. And I think James Cameron is not a cynical filmmaker. And earlier I was talking about wrong lessons we took from like The Dark Knight. And it's like, everything now has to be dark, and the world's such shit, and people in it are so terrible, and you're terrible, and life is terrible, and why would you even want to be alive? And heroes hate themselves, and it's like, I think it's really taking an effect on our culture and our movies. But like, James Cameron is like, yo, you can go to a movie it's okay to go to a movie and care. It's okay to go to a movie and cheer for the hero. It's okay for want the good guys to win and root against the bad guys, and it's okay to like want evil to lose, and you're not a loser because you think something's good. And I was like, I really miss that in movies,
To have
you
a
know?
clear, definitive good guy and a clear, definitive bad guy.
But like, I don't even, because I think even with Stephen Lang's character, they're doing something with that where, they're
Just
gonna.
because there's death doesn't mean you don't know who the bad guy is and
No,
who the good
yeah,
guy
no,
is.
true. But I think it's like, and I don't know if I'm articulating my point well. It's just like it's like it's okay to like things. It's okay to be excited, and there, like you said, there's 20 minutes of this movie where we watch people just like enjoying themselves, learning this new world, and like, man, isn't this beautiful? Isn't this nice that these water panthers are swimming and talking and loving whales? Isn't this great, guys? Isn't this a good movie? But like any other movie, like, no, they gotta hate it, and the whales are actually poisonous and blah blah blah. And it's like there's no cynicism in this, man. It's just like pure filmmaking, and I really appreciate it.
Man, I've never thought about that before. That is very true. And yeah, it's kind of like a throwback, as it
Yeah,
were. Like they don't really make movies like this anymore. Part of like that movie kind of thing is like why I actually love comic books. Because I think they have
mm,
the freedom to be that free. You
hmm,
know what I'm saying? With like, let's just talk about this story. And
yeah,
like they can go in depth and not necessarily fear what like the immediate public will go, like, well, how they will respond to us. And part of the like why I was saying the reason we like love Stephen Lang, even though he's like the definitive bad guy, is the same reason you will love a Doctor Doom or the same reason
yeah,
you'll love a Magneto. They never stop being the bad guy. They're still the bad guy, but you just understand them more. And you
yeah,
just get to
yeah.
know their actions and the thought, and like you like see them for who they are, and
They're cool
everybody's in their own
characters.
story.
They're cool characters. They just happen to be the villain.
Yeah, and that's where we're going with Stephen Lang's character.
Yeah,
Like we've had an opportunity to like, do you who would make him the villain in the second movie, Mark? No one. No one would have made him the villain in the second movie. James Cameron's like, yeah, I want to play with this guy a little bit more. He was really good in the first one. Let's bring him back.
you know what I
Like,
love too? Going into this movie, like in any other movie, if this was an MCU movie, the fact that Stephen Lang and Sigourney Weaver were in it would be hush hush. Like no one would know until the movie premiere. And James Cameron's like, "Oh no, they'll be in it." He's like,
they'll be
the
in it,
two
and
people
they'll
that
be in the
died,
next one.
they'll be in it, but they died. Nah, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. They'll be in it. Like,
It's ridiculous. God, I hate James Cameron. But yeah, man. So, Mark, I think before we wrap up, do you have any theories or thoughts on, what we're going to see in future movies?
bruh, I think this next movie is going to be on the Return of the King, some type of ish. I think it's going to be a huge battle,
Mm,
like huge. And I don't see this ending just like one side wins, one side loses. That's not, I don't think that's the message James Cameron's going to make, because you could tell from his movies, he's not anti technology. He's not, anti like industrialism, but it's like the balance, right? The balance. The This is going to be Korra, the balance. What is the balance? And my theory is that humanity is going to come to Pandora, and Jake and the rest of the Na'vi are going to really work. Like it's going to become I think it's going to parallel our own world, where people are going to start giving weapons of mass destruction to the Na'vi, and some of the Na'vi are going to turn into, let's say, terrorist groups that we see parallel in our own world for the greater good of their struggle. And I see a lot of like, you're going to destroy all of us. And I think whatever happens when these end, I think humanity is going to be stripped down so much that we have no choice but to live in Pandora in peace. We're not going to have our technology to save us, or I don't know. I don't know, because I also see another way. I see maybe after the big fight, let's say the big fights in Avatar 3, but then Avatar 4 and 5 are very small stories. Avatar 4 and 5 are very stories about
Mm.
integration and like race mixing and politics
Mm.
of like, well, we were here first and blah blah blah, so I don't know. I think if anything, if I have a solid prediction, there's going to be a huge like Return of the King level battle in part 3.
Well, I hope so. That sounds, I like your story. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I was going more sci-fi with it. Like, I think the main character is now Sigourney Weaver's daughter,
Oh
and
yeah.
we see her like master the elements, and like more than likely, because we know that the fire people are going to be involved. There's something that happens to her that like only the fire people have a certain herb, and that's when they like stay there for a couple of however long while she
Fire
heals.
Nation.
Fire Nation, and she starts to pick up like the Fire Nation stuff. But like, I think the entire premise of 3 is Jake getting the planet together
Yeah.
to like fight off the human army. So I don't even know if we're gonna see. We might see a few battles, but like, I think this entire movie is going to be prep for the war. And like,
Yeah.
I agree with you with politics, but it's like the politics more so of like Jake, like, hey y'all, this is what war is. Like, you may know like tribal battles, but like, let me explain to you what human war is. And because this is what human war is, this is what we gotta do to prep. So yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen, man. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
it's
No,
gonna be
yeah.
great.
I think we're gonna get something along the lines where like Jake is gonna be like, I've seen this. Well, I haven't seen this, but what's happening here, it happened on my planet. And to win, we're gonna have to use technology. We're gonna have to
Mm.
use their weapons. You to go back to the beginning of the movie when they're going to like the Jake's kind of like his squad base camp. They're in the mountains, but like Jake has like computers and weapons and all this other technology that they're kind of like integrated with their Navi life. They still live by their like Navi principles, but they're using all this tech to like track the trains, and I was like, that's kind of
Mm.
cool. That's kind of like we have to embrace these aspects of humanity to beat them. And I could see that being a big part of part 3.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. We'll see though. We'll see. Nature good, man bad. That's been the pretty
Nature good,
consistent thing
man.
to me. So we'll see. We'll see. Well, yeah, man. Anything else about the movie?
I don't know what format you saw it in. I saw it in high frame rate 3D, and my projector cut out. And this has been happening a lot. I guess like the projectors can't handle the format of the movie, and so mine cut out for about 10 minutes. But if you do see this movie, you got to see it on a big screen. You have to. It's
Yeah,
just
man.
the best way to experience it.
Don't like take advantage while it's still in theaters.
Yeah.
Unless you gotta like that pop cult and you have your own IMAX projection theater with 3D optics, then kudos to you. Please email us at popcultparent@gmail.com and invite the Pop Cult crew over there. We'd love to have an episode over at your house. But for the rest of us out here in these streets, strongly suggest you watch it in a big screen. This is really the only way to watch it. Like, you'll be watching it at home just to remind you of how you felt when you watched it on the big screen. You're not going to be like thoroughly enjoying it like that. You're just going to be reminiscing like, oh, wow, I remember when I saw that killer whale do the triple backflip on that, on that boat. Like, that was amazing. But yeah, man, anything else, brother?
I think that's it, man. I mean, James Cameron. Yeah. Oh, James Cameron doesn't do what James Cameron does because he's James Cameron. James Cameron does what James Cameron does because he's James Cameron.
And it's even more realer now than it was when it first was said. Oh man. Thank you all for listening. We have a new episode every month. You can find us on all social media at Pop Cult Parent. POPCULTPARENT. Visit us at our website, www.popcultparent.com. Email us at popcultparent@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate us, review, and subscribe. And as always, join the cult.
Peace.